Hi everyone, my name is Rahul Kumar. I am from E2E Hiring Mentorship Program, and in this video, we will be learning about Java data types. So let's get started. Welcome to my blog on Java programming, and this is your Rahul from E2E Hiring Mentorship Program. In this episode, we will be discussing about Java data types. So I'll give a brief description about what is Java data types. So if you have to store some certain information and then display it, and how will you do? For example, you take a class, human, which have certain data and behavior, right? The data may be age, name, department, anything. You need to store these values somewhere, some memory. What variable does it? Variable will provide you or allocate a piece of memory where it allows you to store your value in that particular piece of memory. But that memory, what type of value will it store or what size of that value will allow it store need to decide on that. And how you decide or how to determine what size or type of value will it accept is done by a data types. So this was the brief discussion of about Java data types. So Java data types is used to specify the type or size of the value. There are two types of Java data types. One is primitive and another is non-primitive. So there are eight primitive data types, which are categorized into three: Boolean, char, and byte. Non-primitive data types are class, string, interface, and arrays. So we will go through one by one. So Java primitive data types. Any data type built into a programming language is called a primitive data type. As I said, there are eight primitive data types in Java. Uh, these are as follows. First one is byte. A byte is the most basic unit of memory made up of eight individual bits. Byte data types have the following characteristics. We can say like minimum value of byte is minus 128 and maximum value of byte is 127, and by default it is 0. And for example is like byte x 56, we can initialize in that way. And next is short data type. A short is a twice the byte. That is, it is made up of 16 bits, and its minimum value is minus 32,768, and the maximum value is 32,767, and also default it is 0. Next we'll go int data type. So integer is a 4 times of size of a byte. That is, it is made up of 32 bits. It is one of the most commonly used data types in Java. As I have mentioned, like it is the most one of the most commonly used data types in Java, because most of the time we will be using int only. So its minimum value is minus. Now you can say like if you're having some difficult to read that, you can say 2 power 31, and maximum value is 2 power 31 minus 1, and default value is 0. And we'll come to next, long. A long data type is a twice the size of an integer. It is made up of 64 bits, and its minimum value is 2 power 63, and maximum value is 2 power 63 minus 1, and default it is 0. When we say float, float is nothing but a decimal or fraction value. That is why it is called float. If there is a decimal after the number, it will be classified as a float. So this is how we initialize the float in Java. Double is nothing but twice of the size of float. That is, it is made up of 64 bits. And this is how we initialize uh, double data types in Java. Talking about char data type. Char data types refers to a single 16-bit Unicode character. The Unicode characters set includes over 110,000 characters covering more than 100 language scripts. In other words, any data besides number go into the char data types. And here is how we initialize char data types in Java programming. Boolean. When we say Boolean, Boolean is the smallest data types in Java. That is, it is made up of only one bit. Thus, a Boolean data types can have only two values, false or true. This is how we initialize Boolean data types. Now we will talk about non-primitive data types. In simple terms, uh, primitive data types are those data types that are provided as class by Java API or by the class that you create. So a variable of class type is reference type or non-primitive data type. It is not always a built-in feature of Java. However, there is an exception. The string class is an example of a reference data type provided by Java, and it is not a primitive type as it provides inbuilt methods too. So every time we create string variable as an object or literal, an object is created internally, and when we assign it to a variable, it becomes a reference data type. The array is also an example of non-primitive data types, as we have to create an object while defining an array. And we can say like Java by default allocates 8 bytes of space for each reference type variable we create. To summarize the data types in Java, we have one table, or we can table. We can say like we can see we have primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types are categorized into four: integers, floating point, character, boolean. Integers are byte, short, int, long. Floating point are float, double, characters, and boolean. Non-primitive data types is also known as object. So string, array, all user-defined classes, etc. Thank you.